Hey everybody, it is time for San Diego Comic-Con 2017, and I am really happy to be bringing you this video because I have got a somewhat early look, thanks to NECA shipping things out really early, look at the Ninja Turtles 8-pack that they've released for Comic-Con. So this is the one that they put up for pre-order online a while back that sold out, within 3 seconds in some cases, crazy fast. And this is the pack that has the 4 turtles in the cartoon accurate look, along with cartoon Shredder, Krang, and 2 foot soldiers. So here's the front of the box, and this is that vintage style vinyl carry case, which is honestly just as big a part of the set as the toys, because this thing is crazy. Let me pan down for you, and you can take a closer look at the artwork on the front, and it says collector's case down there. You got the turtles jumping out of a manhole cover. Spin it around a bit, and we've got some foot soldiers here on the side with the clasps. In the back has our villains. So we've got Shredder and Krang here, and it again has the current modern TMNT logo because it's still under that current license. And then if you spin it on this side, you get another shot. And this bit of artwork is actually the San Diego Convention Center. So, this is where the con takes place, obviously. So they kind of tailored the case to match the location. So that's pretty cool. I like, this is kind of like an Archie comic style look of the Ninja Turtles. That's sort of what it looks like anyway. I think this case is very cool. This is probably it's one of the coolest aspects of the case, notwithstanding the toys inside. It's got a handle on the top with more artwork, and then it just, pops open like it would with any other vintage style carry case to reveal the figures within, and they are kind of layered. So we've got the turtles on top in a 4-pack, and then we've got the villains underneath them in another 4-pack. So let's take a closer look at these figures. All right, so here are the turtles out of the set. We'll do these first, take a look at paint, articulation, sculpt, and accessories. These guys are honestly the easiest bunch because they're mostly the same. Quick cursory glance of the 4. I like them. I think they look cool. These are kind of reuse from the arcade turtles that they put out last year. I don't have those. Didn't really do it for me. I didn't really want to go down that road and spend money on those particular figures. They are very cool, but just weren't specifically for me. These aren't perfect. There are some kind of paint mishaps here and there. My Donatello has got one hell of a derp eye on his left eye, right eye on the screen. It's like going up into the bandana. The other ones are relatively okay. They are all a little cross-eyed in some ways. Like the eyes are a little too forward-facing and too inset, I guess is the best way to say it. And then there is a little bit of just kind of paint goop here and there on their belts, on the lettering on their belts. Relatively nitpicky kind of stuff. I can fix that eye. Don't really care about it. It's just something to note because I know that kind of stuff really pisses people off, and rightly so. Outside of that, though, the figures are all the same. Outside of their accessories, obviously, paint scheme in terms of their color, which you all know that. And then their heads are all different. They're all doing something slightly different with their mouths. So Raph has got an opening on this side, Leo's got an opening on both sides, Donnie's not open at all, and Mikey is open on, well, he's on the ground now, but he's open on the other side. So they're all very similar, but also a little different. My only real gripe outside of, kind of the paint issues is that they are top heavy. You can probably understand why, and they do seem to be a little loose at the legs. Like that moves a lot. I have had a bit of a hard time getting them to stand. Once they're up, but they might be falling down on your display. So just, pay attention to what you're doing posing. Otherwise, they're pretty cool. So let's take a quick look at articulation and paint and sculpt. We're going to use Leo as the example. I'm not going to go through each of them individually. So we'll move all these out of the way, and we'll take a closer look at Leonardo here. All right, so here is Leonardo all by his lonesome. I've obviously got his swords in his hands, and we'll just leave him there for now. Now, these are obviously cartoon-style turtles. These are specifically the animation turtles. I know that there is a disconnect between what is shown in terms of merchandising and what was actually on TV. In the TV show, they were all a darker shade of green. That is definitely how they were. So these are cartoon accurate. So by comparison, we have the figure arts figures, and they're all a very bright green. That's kind of how, like you saw on the packaging itself of this, they're always shown as being very bright in that original packaging, and pretty much on any merchandising, they're all really bright. So it's just a difference of kind of what they did in the show versus what they did on packaging, merchandising, and so on and so forth. So just something to note. I'll do a comparison against a couple figure arts turtles in a bit, just to show you, because I've got them handy. So you can see, just going back to what I said, he wants to hinge and a lot on this. Like, I can just flop him around. That could be a problem down the road. But let's go over articulation real quick. So head can swivel, can look up and down. The neck is actually articulated as well. It picks up. It's kind of hard to pick that up, but the neck does move like a double ball peg down there. Joints are all very, very tight, and they just came out of the box. This is NECA stuff, so I'm not too surprised that they are really tight. Just something to take note of. Arms can go out. They go up. Swivel all around. We do have bicep swivel. Single joint at the elbow. See, look what I'm talking about here. Very, very tight. Get up there. There we go. And then we have just swivels at the wrist. They're just in there in a kind of a ball peg. There is no upper torso articulation, but they do actually kind of swivel a bit at what would be, you can kind of see it if I lift it up in there. They kind of swivel around just a bit. They do have, it's probably like a double ball or something in there. They do go all the way out on the legs. They go forward quite a bit because the shell is actually quite soft. They don't go back a great deal, but not too bad either. They do kind of swivel at that thigh. There is a double joint at the knee. Go back pretty far, but of course the knee pads are always going to be in the way on a turtle. And then they swivel and hinge a bit at that foot, at the ankle. So they've got pretty decent articulation. I imagine if you have the arcade set, you know what you're getting here. Now, as far as that's really going to bother me. As far as paint goes, they look pretty good. I do have some gripes, as I mentioned, when I was just kind of going over them all at a glance. Some of them have kind of derpier eyes than others. Donatello is the bad one in the bunch for me. But they've all got kind of, the cell shading kind of color scheme on the bandanas and on the armbands and on the wrist straps and on the knee pads, just to kind of give it a more cartoony look. They obviously are in that cartoon color scheme. And I think for the most part, they turned out really well. There is obviously various shading going on, so they're kind of bisected right down the middle. And you can see the back half is darker, like they're in shadow. The front half is lighter, like they're in the light, obviously. And then, there's line work in all of it to kind of bring out the more cartoony aspects of them by putting the black lines around the musculature. The shells on all of them look really good. The belts look really nice, with the exceptions of the logos on them. They all have their letters on their belt. Some are better than others. They're not terrible. I'm not saying they're bad. They're just a little on the sloppy side. The line work around them kind of bleeds around. It doesn't bother me, but again, it's just something to note. Leo here is a good example of probably the best figure that I've got in terms of the face. I think he looks really good. The line work in those teeth are really nice, very dark, very crisp. The white really pops, and then the white and black in the eyes is great. Overall, I think they look pretty damn exceptional, and the sculpt on these guys, I mean, this is about as good as it gets in terms of these smaller scale figures. I do love the figure arts, and I really need to review those things. I've got 3 of them sitting by me right now, and I've just never done them. So that's on me. But I think these are a pretty damn good representation of cartoon accurate turtles. The figure arts are on a really different level because they're figure arts. What do you expect? But these are pretty exceptional. I really do like them. I think they are very nice toys, very cool, and they look really good. They're very accurate to the show, and I think that is something that has kind of been missing for a long time. We don't have a great deal of those. So NECA kind of, did what we've all been waiting for a while. And there's that floppiness again. So that's my one gripe. If I'm going to have one gripe about this set so far, it's this. It just seems way too loose. Leo's, he's just as good or bad as the rest of them. So it's not a good or bad example in that regard. But you can see, he just wants to fall right over. These shells are actually pretty heavy. So take that for what it's worth. Another thing to note is that Leo and Donnie both have places to put their weapons. Raph and Mikey do not. So Leo's got the scabbards, and Donnie has kind of the holster on his shell for his bow staff. So with that said, with my stupid little gripes out of the way, let's take a look at accessories and just kind of go over what they come with, because all the turtles come with, obviously they come with all of their weapons. You know, we've got, Raph's got his sais, Donnie's got his bow, and Mikey has nunchucks. But they all have various other accessories as well. But let's take a look at weapons real quick, just because they're here. So Leo's got his, he's got his swords. They're very cartoon accurate in terms of the shape and the size of them. And then they've got painted hilts. Not a great deal to talk about there. They're swords. They're katana-esque. Raph has his sais, obviously. Mikey has nunchucks, and he does have, you know, actual chains. I'll just knock these down. How professional. Mikey does have the real chains, and you can actually kind of hang his nunchucks on the side of his belt here. They're not really meant to go there, but they've been there the entire time I've been talking, and they haven't really fallen out. They kind of sink, but they don't fall all the way out. They're not really meant to go there, but it's kind of a thing you can do, and that's kind of where he keeps them in the show, if I remember correctly. And then Donnie has his bow, and honestly, I think this might be the best accessory. We're just gonna leave them down. So he's got, it's just because it has more detail, it's got more character to it. So this bow is in no way straight. It's very crooked and gnarly. It's all very wavy. Got a ton of paint wash in there too. And then he's got the wraps on there with a lot of paint wash in it as well. So I think his weapon's probably the coolest in terms of just it being a little more different and more lively, I guess. But the rest are all very accurate, very cool. They look good. So let's take a look at the rest of the stuff that comes in this big old box. Before we take a look at accessories, let's take a quick look, like I mentioned, at the new turtles up against the figure arts, just as a quick comparison. Because I know some folks are probably interested to see what they look like next to each other. So you can see the stark difference in color. So we've got the very bright figure arts here, and the darker, more cartoon accurate NECA figures. So, I mean, they're very similar, but obviously these look a lot more like what you probably think of when you think of the show. A lot of folks, when they think of turtles, they think of this, but that's not how they look like in the show. So, just a little thing. I think it's cool that you know, we got two different versions. I am going to review these guys one day. I don't know why I haven't. Figure arts just kind of take a while to actually do them, as I talk about doing a 30-minute review here. All right, so let's kind of run down the rest of the accessories. I figured I'd just leave them in here, and you know, I'm obviously going to take pictures and do all that kind of fun stuff when we're done. But just for ease of use here, we're going to talk about them in the package still. So we've got a set of extra hands for every turtle, and obviously you can use them interchangeably. We've got more gripping hands, we've got open palm hands, we've got style pose hands, which are definitely more suited for Raph, and then we've got thumbs up hands. Mikey comes with his grappling hook, which does have a weighted cord on it. And you know, that's kind of a nod to the, just because you know, they had the other weapons and they had the other utility items, but Mikey used that a lot in the UK version of the show, and just in general, because you know, it was a little more regulated in the UK. So it's just, maybe that's a nod there. He's also got a spinning nunchuck accessory. Raph has a specific piece of pizza made for him that will fit on top of one of the sides. It's got a hole in there so you can emulate the shot from the intro of the show. There is a full pizza, obviously, with a piece missing, and then they all come with their own turtle comms. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 are open, 2 are closed. Those are some pretty obscure, maybe not obscure, but less often used accessories in terms of this, in terms of turtles. We don't get a whole lot of those. So that's a really cool addition. I think they come with a lot of stuff. I don't think we're missing anything specifically. I like what we get here. I'm not sure I'm really ever going to use a lot of these other hands. I don't know if I'm going to need them. Maybe taking pictures, obviously. I'll use some. Have fun like that. But I'm definitely going to use this Mikey accessory, and the piece of pizza is probably going to be used as well, and I'll have this hanging around somewhere as well. Turtle comms I'm not sure I'm going to use, but they are cool, and I like that they did them. They do have a lot of paint apps on them too. So overall, I think we get a lot of cool stuff in this box. I mean, it's NECA. We really think we're going to get anything less? So, you know, we've taken a look at the figures. We've kind of gone over them. We've seen some of their weapons. We've seen some of the cool other stuff they come with. Let's crack out the villains, because I know that's what everybody wants to see, myself included. Let's crack out that shredder. Okay, so if you're like me, this is the second half of the set that you are more interested in. The turtles are great. I love the turtles, but this right here is where it's at, I think, for a lot of people. I don't speak for everybody, but I'm probably going to. This is awesome. This is great. I think it's been a long time coming to get more adult collector style Shredder, foot soldiers, Krang. You know, a lot of turtle lines don't include this. We have seen the Figure Arts Shredder teased a couple times, but he's never materialized. The Playmates TMNT Classic line never came to fruition with a Shredder. It died at Bebop and Rocksteady. So I think it's really nice we finally got these. We obviously do have the NECA comic style Shredder and the Foot Clan, but they're kind of at a different level. They're not really the same. This is what I want in a Shredder figure right here. Unless that Figure Arts comes out to kind of usurp this guy, I think this is going to take it for a while. So we're gonna have to look at all of these a little bit individually because they're all a little different. The Shredder and the Foot Soldiers are relatively the same, but they obviously look very different. Krang is a whole different beast altogether. So let's move Shredder and Krang out of the way, and I'm going to do the Foot Soldiers first, and then we'll go through the big bads. All right, so here are our Foot Soldiers, and we'll move this one back for a second. They're the same figure. So we can do articulation and sculpt and paint and all that good stuff. So the head can move all the way around the swivels. It doesn't have any neck articulation like the turtles do. Arms can go all the way out, all around. Normal stuff, bicep swivel. We've got double jointed elbows. And then we have a hinge and a swivel at that wrist. They do have a waist twist. Legs go all the way out, so you can have them doing the splits if you need to. More than 90 degrees up. Quite a, hell, 90 degrees back almost. Double joint at those knees. Boot cut. Shin swivel, whatever you prefer. Hinge. And what do we got? Hinge and a swivel at the ankle with a bit of rocker action in there too. And then they've got toe articulation. I wasn't expecting that. So, all the way up there. As far as sculpt goes, these are damn near perfect. These look like they jumped right out of the cartoon. Excellent work. We've got the armor pads on the wrists, the kind of wide shoulder pads that they've got on the back. There's even some sculpted wrinkles in there. I think this is probably the best representation of a foot soldier I can think of. I don't know of any better figure that does this character. Certainly not the vintage figures. They're pretty cool, but they're not this level. These are almost cartoon accurate, I would think. I can't think of any reason why they aren't. As far as paint goes, they're the same as the turtles in the style. So they've got, a light half and then a dark half with kind of a clear delineation of where that begins. It kind of bisects down the middle. So they're lighter on the front, darker on the back. There's a bit of a wash in the armor pads. Overall, it's pretty good. You've got those crisp yellow eyes with kind of a dark wash in them. I do have some paint splatter on the foot logo on this one. This one's fine. This one has kind of a purple smudge on the red foot. Otherwise, they look pretty damn good. I'm far more pleased with a foot soldier than I thought I was really going to be. I didn't really care about these guys. Shredder is where I'm at for these, but I almost wish I had another set to have 4 of these, but let's not get too crazy now. So we're going to take a look now at the main brain himself. All right, so here's Krang. We've got him in all of his fleshy glory. We'll just take a look at the brain first. He looks really good. He looks very unhappy. He's got that standard kind of pissy Krang look going on about him. Very nice paint apps. He is, again, in that same style, but a little different. He's darker on the bottom, kind of like, it's like a shadow, basically. And then he's very light pink on the top with some of that darker kind of shadowy wash, different paint scheme in the ridges on the brain, and then kind of on the veins, too. Eyes are really good. Mouth looks really solid. I'm very pleased with this little guy, honestly. He looks really good. Sculpt is great. He looks like a brain. What do you want? And then articulation, all you're going to get is the tentacles kind of move, and then they can pop out because you can put him in his walker. You set him in there, shut the top, and then they will peg in on the front like he's sticking his tentacles through, if I can say that right. And then you can spin him around They're still articulated because they're on that ball joint. As far as this thing goes, I think this looks really good. It's got a nice kind of flat, cartoony paint scheme to it. Looks really nice. Sculpt is really good. A lot of, kind of detailed circuitry and mechanical bits and bobs everywhere. So I think it's really cool. Articulation, you're just going to get the legs. They move, and then they have knees, I guess you want to say. They don't have any other articulation, but it really doesn't need it either. So you can just sort of stand there and look pissed off. Yeah, very cool. I think this is a Krang that a lot of people have been wanting to get for a long time. The only way it could have been better is if we got the giant robot suit. But I don't think anybody, well, I don't know. I probably would have bought him. He probably would have been incredibly expensive, but I think we'd all have bought him, wouldn't we? All right, let's take a look at Shredder now. Enough messing around. All right, here he is. Here's the main attraction here. This is definitely what I came for when it was announced that we were getting this set. So we've got Oroku Saki himself, the Shredder, and I think this figure just looks absolutely great. Where I had some kind of paint mishaps with the turtles, this guy is, I mean, I think he's perfect. I can't find any faults with this figure. Face in particular looks really nice. You can definitely tell that that is cartoon style Shredder in there. He again has that same style of, kind of light and then shadowy backdrop on him of the paint scheme. Very cool. Cartoon minimalistic line work, which is great. And then of course he's got a cloth goods cape. It hangs pretty well. It's not the best, but it's not ever going to be on a figure of this scale. But I think they've kind of set it in the correct way, so it looks really good. It flows nicely, hangs really low. It's good. I like that. I'm pleased there. As far as articulation, head goes all the way around. It goes down, doesn't really go up. Arms go out. Same articulation you see on the foot soldiers. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, hinge and a swivel at the wrist, waist twist, splits all the way up, all the way back, double joint at the knee. He does have a boot cut, and then he has that same ankle articulation with the toe articulation that the foot soldiers have. So you're going to get similar results all around. As far as the sculpt goes, like I said, I think this is a really good cartoon accurate representation of the Shredder. He's got the spines all over him, the spikes. They are soft and kind of gummy, probably for safety reasons, I would imagine. They can't be too sharp. The shoulder pads are hinged at the top of the shoulder, so they can move as you move the character's arms. They are again soft. He's got the spikes and the spines on his shin guards as well, and then he has the kind of skirt piece made of a more soft, gummy plastic. Where it really comes down to me, though, is that head. I think he looks great. That is a very nice, cartoon-accurate Shredder helmet, Shredder face mask, and you can definitely tell that's him in there. Just look at those pissed-off eyes. He's mad about something. Now, as far as paint goes, we'll touch on that real quickly. So he's got a little bit more just because he has different colors going on. So he's got the kind of lighter shaded gray on his chest and his stomach. It extends down to the kind of skirt piece here. And then the armor plating also has different tones on it as well. It's kind of light and dark, different shades of gray, really. But the face has a decent bit. He's got the white and the brown eyes, and then he's got his eyebrows painted as well. Not a ton of paint, but what's there is surprisingly well done. When I have issues with the turtle eyes, and they have big eyes, I was kind of worried his eyes would be kind of messed up, but they're really nice. They look good. And then nothing on the back really to speak of. We got that cape again. I really like that. I think it's great. Hangs well. Looks pretty good. Not too bad. I'm always kind of weary of soft goods in some cases, but I think NECA got it down pretty decently. So yeah, that's the Shredder for sure. All right, let's take a look at this group's accessories. All right, just for ease of use on my part, just because there's a lot of stuff here, we're going to do this again like I did with the turtles. Keep it in the tray for now, and we'll take them out for picks here in a bit. So we've got a mutagen canister. We've got two style pose hands for Shredder, obviously. We've got Shredder's sword. We have what I assume is maybe a retro mutagen ray. We've got a stand for Krang. So he actually has an indentation on his underside. You can sit him on this. Mine doesn't fit all that great. And honestly, beware, these little legs are very, very delicate. One of mine almost popped off. We've got two gripping hands for Shredder, for the sword, obviously, because the Shredder and the foot soldiers have fist hands out of the box. We've got, for the foot soldiers, we have got Two sets of the same kind of hands. We've got gripping hands for the guns. We have got open palm hands, so 4, 2 of each. We have got a communicator with Krang's face on it, and we've got 2 enormous guns with a lot of detail on them. I think those might be my favorite accessories in the whole set, maybe except for the piece of pizza with a hole in it. But these are really cool. They're very nice, very big, very cartoon foot soldier-esque style weapons. So cool stuff all around. I think, with the whole package, there's no doubt in my mind that people would have just bought this if they had access to just these 4. So I think it says a lot that they were able to make these guys stand out more than the turtles. I think the second half of this set is definitely outweighing the first for me. So is there anybody out there that really thinks I'm not going to like this set? I don't know if anybody out there who bought it isn't going to like this set. I think NECA has done a really, really nice job of supplying just a whole package. So this isn't just action figures. This is a complete set that kind of can make a diorama. It comes in a vintage style carrying case that is obviously there to kind of evoke nostalgia with the fans and with people who were kids when the Ninja Turtles was on, and I am definitely among that group. That carrying case does a lot for me in terms of this set. I think it's a great way to package this stuff, and they really, kind of hit it out of the park in that regard. We have got 4 amazing turtle figures. They do have their problems. They're definitely not perfect. That's why I said amazing. They're not perfect. They do have kind of, some top-heavy issues. I've got a wonky eye on Donatello. But at the end of the day, that doesn't bother me. Once I get them posed, they're going to stand there. They're going to be fine. I can fix Donnie's eye. Not a huge deal. They come with a lot of cool accessories, a lot of accessories that, you don't normally get in just a standard release, like the open and the closed turtle comms, or the pizza slice with a hole in it. I can't get over how cool that is. The idea of having that alone is just awesome. And then when it comes to the back half of this set, Shredder is amazing. He's an awesome figure. He looks like he jumped right out of the cartoon. Krang is really cool. The addition of that walker really brings the character to life and adds to it when you can pop those tentacles off and put them in the sockets on that walker. That alone is worth it to me. And the foot soldiers, they are excellent. They look like they jumped out of the show too. I can't get over how much I like 2 foot soldier figures. If anything, like I said, I want more of them now. For those of you that are going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, I would urge you to get this set, not just because you can turn around and make probably a $200 profit right when you get home, but because this is an excellent commemorative Ninja Turtle set that looks like it jumped right out of the cartoon, and I don't think anybody could ask for more. So that is going to do it for this look at the NECA Toys San Diego Comic-Con collection. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know down in the comments what do you think. Which figure do you like the most? Were you able to score this guy, or are you having to resort to eBay? What's going on in terms of this set for you? So until next time, everyone.